Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of EGAD 12 FPS at EGAD headquarters. I am your Wait. Toonkind at 12 FPS. Right.
It's
At
okay.
EGAD headquarters. I am your host, Carmichael, also known as Mikey, here today with Winona. Say hello, Winona.
Hello. Still a little bit eepy tired, but that's because it's a good tired. It's one of those tired where I woke up and I just felt relaxed all morning. So,
Mm, this morning was pretty nice. Admittedly, I wish I didn't wake up at 6 or 7 a.m., but honestly, not bad.
mhm.
This is your note to buy earplugs if you plan on sleeping through a thunderstorm and it decides to start crashing thunder outside your window.
Yeah, indeed.
But today's 12 FPS is titled Stuck. Is it between or on a wall?
No, it's stuck between a wall and a sticky place.
Thank you. And we're actually going to be starting with Belle. I'm going to make just a few rolls for the general vibes of weather at the moment. This isn't going to contribute to combat or anything because I doubt there's going to be combat. It's literally just atmosphere.
Mhm.
In hindsight, I realized I maybe should have used Belle's dice for that, but it's the weather, so it's fine. Let me go ahead and... If those of you happen to have your Dungeon Master's Guide with you, or those of you that don't, I am looking through the Dungeon Master's Guide for page 109 for the weather table, right under Wilderness Survival. And it would appear it is just lightly raining. The perfect atmosphere in summer, honestly. No howling wind, no rushing gale. It's not too cold and it's not too hot. It's just rainy. It's this light, dull, pleasant gray outside as rain patters over all the different leaves of the Xerox jungle, over the boughs of the treehouse. Belle, meanwhile, normally would be enjoying it. He would normally just be lounging next to the window, just listening to rain, storm, what have you, while he did his own thing. His ears don't seem too focused on it, though. He's just laying on a couch, staring up at the ceiling. There is at least a little bit of chatter near him, however, as he did in fact summon a few imps to try and have a conversation with, but he's tuned out their talk for the most part, even though it's supposed to be helpful. So there's just four imps that are talking around him and not to him. Or in the very least, if they're talking to him, they don't notice. As he just sits there, staring dully at the ceiling, and then glances over to the window. It's been a hot minute since he happened to send his paper birds. It's been a hot minute since he started hunting down soul contracts on the side and trying to get his diet back up. It's been a minute. And you'd think with him picking some things up and figuring some things out, it'd start feeling better, right? You know, like everything's starting to clear up and make sense. And it's not. And he's not sure what he's doing wrong. But he's been getting souls on a decent schedule. He's been eating well, mostly. It's not the best food, but it's affordable. Ollie has a decently sized wallet. He doesn't like using it, but he can afford some pretty snazzy snacks. Just not stuff that he likes. And his head is just kind of full of nothing. It should be full of thoughts. There are thoughts rattling around in there, but they kind of just run into each other so much it seems to turn into nothing but noise. And if you're wondering if I'm describing dissociation, you'd be correct. Belle is currently just sitting in white noise. He's not fully sure what he feels is wrong. He just feels like he's doing something wrong. He doesn't know what. Something's... There's a frustration he can't place. And the rain, which normally would be a godsend when it comes to chilling him out, is just drowning it out. It's just more noise. Not paying attention to the imps, not paying attention to the rain. He's just kinda sitting, doing fuck all.
Do one of the imps want to make a perception check?
Sure thing. Let me go ahead and pull up an imp stat block. I believe I should have one of these. Because there is a, yeah, because there should be a fucking imp over in the Ravenloft thing here. Yes, there is. Thank you, Raven. Thank you, Curse of Strahd. Uh, perception, you said?
Perception.
That's a +1. Okay, I was expecting worse. Get a level with you.
No, I understand that thought.
God bless, that's a 4. So 3 plus 1. One of the imps, which the imps just don't notice at the moment. The one that you were trying to think about whether they'd notice or not, she doesn't.
All right, make a perception for a second imp.
All right. $13.
The first imp doesn't notice because it was a very slight change, but the second imp hears something that is just like they're used to like the rain tapping on like the window as it storms, but they hear a more definitive tap, 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 and they look. It's like what the heck? And they look out the window, and it's not raining rain. It's raining jelly beans.
In the middle of whatever conversation in Infernal they happen to be having, the second imp, which looks about as close to a traditional Cuphead imp style as you'd expect, which is just little guy, big, bulbous yellow and black eyes, wings, Their particular discerning trait is that compared to some of the others, they actually have a pair of horns, as opposed to some of the other imps that don't usually have any. And so they kind of stop mid-conversation, but the other three don't immediately notice. And as the first one, which looks like the other imps but is shaped more like a water vase or a pitcher, is just chatting away, the second imp just kind of tap, 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 taps her shoulder, then eventually swats it. Ow! What the? And then points to the window. What? Oh. Is that normal for this place? No, I don't think so. This is all set in Infernal, mind you. They have not switched to Common.
Fair enough.
Bell, briefly only catches attention when he hears the little pained yelp from one of them, but it's only, the playful little swat to the shoulder. He does not pay too much attention to it, but he watches as all four of the imps kind of fly up to the window and the jelly bean rain?
Yeah, it's totally jelly bean rain. You don't know what flavors there are since you say the window's closed, nor have you can pick one up unless you open the window. But yeah, it's just what was saying. There's now just raining jelly beans of multiple different colors. Some very brightly colored, some of them more of a darker shade. You assume they're all different flavors, but again, you don't know what flavors there are. You haven't tried one yet. As they start covering the jungle floor.
The imps kind of look at each other and look around at this in a little mixture of wonder and confusion because, again, this is not normal weather for them, but it's not necessarily bad weather. And the only reason Belle has taken any notice is because since it has changed consistency from light raindrops to jelly beans, it sounds like hail at first, which Belle kind of likes a little more. That's a nice sound. It's kind of stirring him out of the static a little. Not that he has any the brain static. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't have to deal with the program anymore. It's fine. And eventually, he hears one of them go, "Boss, boss, boss, what? What is it? Do we have permission to go outside? Weather's looking weird." Sounds like it's hailing. Are you sure you want hit in the head? Is that what hail looks like? And that other imp just points to the window, and Belle sits up and looks. And he blinks with an audible sound effect, just doink, doink. No, that's not. And he gets up and he walks over and he just opens the window and looks out. And his face is just pelted with jelly beans.
Yeah, jelly beans start coming in through the window because it's still.
No. Immediately closes it, but just there are now just jelly beans on the floor.
Yeah, there's a good handful of jelly beans on the floor. Maybe even 2 handfuls.
Is it bad weather? No, just what did the got me in the eye? Ow. If you want to go ahead and play in the chili, are those chilies? They are chili. If you want to go play with those, go ahead. Ow. As he's just kind of rubbing his eyes a bit while the imps just look between each other, and then they slide open the window just a crack and just sneak on out. Now, of course, they can't fly in the jelly bean rain, but yeah, they're gonna go ahead and just play around and have some while Belle recovers from being pelted by a face full of very, very, very small jelly beans.
Yeah, and the imps, like, these are, like, a multiple different kinds of jelly beans. There are, like, the regular classic ones, like grape, lemon, green apple, but there's also some, like, very weird flavors. There's popcorn, there is, like, pina colada, there is, there... So one of the jelly beans tastes like earthworms. The other one tastes like sausage.
Every flavored jelly beans. It's the bean challenge. I get it.
Yeah, it's the bean challenge. Some of them are good. Some of them are not. One of them's one of the imps accidentally gets a jalapeno pepper one, and it's like extremely hot even for an imp. And they're like, ah!
Yeah, normally jalapeno is like the tamest thing they can taste. So for a jalapeno flavored thing to actually burn is a new thing, and it's not necessarily a good thing, as one of them immediately sticks their face in the mud to cool off. Two of the others just snicker at them, while the first imp, Vesma, apparently, is just enjoying the fact that she has successfully picked out which ones taste like sausage and is just, having those. Belle, meanwhile, is just kind of squinting at the jelly bean weather outside the window while he's safe in the treehouse. He just narrow eyes, twitchy tail.
Does Belle want to now make a perception check?
He sure fucking does. Let me move the book. Okay, Belle, baby boy, what's your perception again? Oh, that's right, you get a 0. Okay, we just get to roll a d20. $13.
I mean, it wasn't a high DC, but they noticed, like, outside, like, in the little porch. That's the word I was looking for. Little porch area. There's a familiar face sitting in what looks like a rocking chair made out of cotton candy, just enjoying the weather, eating some jelly beans himself. And Chaos, my character for the day, looks over and is like, wonderful weather we're having, isn't it?
It was wonderful before you turned it to jelly beans. Can you turn it back?
No, I'm having fun for today, though I will change it to something else. As he gives a little clap of the hands, and jelly beans turn into marshmallows. There we go.
The imps like this even further, especially since they can roast them. So.
And they are also the flavored different marshmallows too.
Good. Wish I could try this at some point, but that's not on the topic.
Yeah.
Belle just kind of watches it, and now there's no satisfying sound whatsoever. It's just a bunch of bouncy marshmallows, and you watch as his ears just kind of slowly pin back as he just quietly opens the window to just turn over and look to Chaos directly.
Chaos is just smiling. His bowl of jelly beans has now turned a bowl of marshmallows.
As Belle is going to ask this question, he's going to casually just hold one of his paws out so he can catch some. as he asks, "What do you want, Chaos?"
Oh, it's nothing that I want, it's what you need. As you are easily able to catch a marshmallow.
Yeah, he's gonna try marshmallow, sure. What do I have to roll?
Roll a d12.
Okay, cool. I don't get to use this D12 all that much. That's a 2.
Let's see. You just get a chocolate marshmallow.
You know what? Not bad. You can tell he kind of has to process that as chocolate for a minute because it's a marshmallow and the flavor's not immediately clear. These are not gourmet 5-star marshmallows, I assume.
No,
So,
but there are different colors.
yeah. Different colors of like store-bought looking marshmallows, you know the kind.
Yeah.
They're like residually dusty. They're not bad. They're not great, but they're okay.
Yeah, they're just normal marshmallows that you can find.
Yeah, it's just like he's having a dusty chocolate, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think I need exactly? Don't say another match with a small child. I don't want to fight anyone today.
No. I already did half my job today with getting you out of the dissociation that you just were having. And he plops a marshmallow in his mouth.
I don't know. I could still just pretend that you're a dream I'm having and I could wake myself up at any moment.
Oh, but that's the fun thing. Life is but a dream, is it not?
Good night, Chaos. And he closes the window and heads back in the treehouse.
Chaos is sitting inside now.
Bell just kind of folds his arms and just taps his hind leg on the ground, just taps his foot.
Oh, come on. You used to love this back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Oh, two peas in a pod. Bestest friends that we could ever bit. Oh, the chaos and disruptions we were getting up to. All the fun. I remember those days fondly.
Lucky you. Bella's gonna walk right past him and try to leave the room.
You wanna roll a dexterity check?
Sure thing. Honey. So that's a check, not a saving throw?
No saving throw. I was sorry. Say
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
9 plus 3 for 12.
Yeah, doesn't hit it as Bell tries to leave, but he can't. He's like, And he looks down, and the floor is covered in. You're not very sure what it is. It's just something very sticky and very sweet.
Oh. I take it you bringing up the past has something to do with what you say I need today? And he's looking at him with like a forced smile of he's trying to be pleasant, but like today, he does not think he's in the mood at the moment. He doesn't know what's got him all riled up, but he's not in the mood for it.
Chaos is just smiling nonchalantly, does not care. He sees through that smile. It's just like, oh yes.
And what would it be you think I need exactly?
A little jog of the memory. A little, let's say, home cleaning in the mindscape. Just to remember some few things here and there. Just to say, so you could be the better devil that I know you are.
There is a long silence, which is only compounded by the very gentle, almost silent sound effect of the marshmallows still hitting the window. And the slow lift of an unimpressed eyebrow. Unconvinced.
Chaos is just smiling. He does not care. It's very smug smile, too. He's just like, I know.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. I haven't been the most successful in that field, so I doubt you're going to get much other results. Now, if you'll excuse me, and he's going to snap his trident into existence, he's thankfully remembering how to do that, and he's going to tap it on the ground to get himself unstuck as he disappears.
I mean, I already was successful. As Chaos somehow appears where he appears. I did
Yeah,
get
he
you.
just He tries to appear like just in the kitchen to get himself a snack, and of course, Chaos is there again.
He's cooking. He looks like he's cooking and has like a bowl of cookie dough in his hand. Oh, I was already somewhat successful. I did help you get reminded that your soul diet is needed.
Right. And what do you expect me to remember today, exactly?
Oh, that's easy. He just says like the hair is like, oh yes, motion. The bowl drops and it does a little tiny explosion. It doesn't hurt the kitchen or anything, but it's more for dramatic effect.
Yeah, it's just a stock explosion.
Oh, for you to have fun, of course. I think that's gonna help a lot.
The other eyebrow lifts. Would you roll me an insight check on him, please?
Yes, yes, I can. Yeah. Come on, dice. Let's see what you got. All right, that is a 18.
I imagined you. I assumed you'd have a better modifier for insight. Funky.
Unfortunately, insights with intelligence.
Ah, I take it he is not very smart.
No, he's technically smart. It's just say he just didn't get a high roll this time.
Fair enough. There's a moment where the general day's grumpiness does fall away to some genuine confusion and not necessarily interest, but more curiosity. But Bell immediately tries to cover it again just as he folds his arms over his trine and leans back a little, just glaring at him. I have fun, thank you.
But you haven't been having fun lately, have you?
I think I've been having fun. I mean, you did make me beat up a small child. I've been hunting down soul contracts. I've been stealing dice here and there and some other small gaming trinkets. Nothing bigger, sadly, but I mean, I don't really want to attract that much attention to the guild.
Oh, you don't have to do it at the guild, of course. The world is your oyster. They say the entire continent is your kingdom. We could go anywhere and anywhere, have fun at any time. I think you forgot about that.
Would you roll me persuasion?
Yes, I can roll the persuasion. Give me 1 second. Oh, that's the good roll. That's a 25.
There's a moment that Belle stands there just kind of listening to you chatter on and on about this, and at first it still sounds like your usual nonsense. Like, the usual chaos nonsense. You know the kind.
Mm-hmm.
But as Belle thinks on it, and I'm gonna go ahead and roll the d20 for memory vibe check. Let me go ahead and pull something up real quick. Where's your memory table, boyo? There it is. And where's your sheet actually? Oh, there it is. Where is it? Okay, so that was not a nat 20, but that adds a percentile back to memory. As Bell kind of tries to think on what you're saying, and while he doesn't get anything specific at the moment, there is something to... You are reaching something somewhere. You are getting a little thought. More so than just him trying to ignore you and disappear somewhere. Consideration is the better term.
Mm-hmm.
From what I heard of myself, I thought I only ruled over Toon Hell. What's this about the continent?
Oh, yes, you rule over Toon Hell, of course. That is not up for debate at all. But that doesn't
Hmm.
mean you don't escapade to have some fun time on the continent itself. You gotta keep the folks reminding of who you are, anyways. How do you think I decided to enlist some help of my own lately?
By trespassing on their property, breaking into their houses, and begging them until they say yes?
Not always. Besides, I like being an annoying little shit.
No, no, I figure as much. Otherwise, you wouldn't make a career or domain out of it.
Oh, you haven't even seen my place lately. I have just got it all clean. You would love it there.
I appreciate the offer, but I really would rather just sit on a couch and do nothing. So if you'd allow me to go back to that.
Oh, no, 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 no. Now that's a little bit boring for you, devil. As he does a little, as he just like twirls him around as he tries to walk away.
Bell just kind of stops in his step a moment, presumably so he doesn't step on him as he's walking.
Hehe.
Look, I appreciate the offer to have fun, but nothing I've been quite doing has been fully cutting it lately. I have enough fun as it is here
Exactly.
at the guild, so
Exactly. Nothing is cutting it because it's not up to your standards. Come on. Let's do a little jog of the memory and see if we can get some of that old remember of all happiness.
he does not look impressed, but he isn't walking away from you, so shoot your shot, I guess.
I'll even let you choose which continent we go to. Again, it doesn't have to be here, so the guild doesn't have to be associated with it, of course. We could do our pick. There's plenty of places in Ghibli, Tetukanda, or we could go to Happy's place. That's always a fun place to go for a bit of chaos. UPA is a little bit more untraditional, but I like its little zany nature of 2D.
You say that, and you are looking at Bell currently sitting in full UPA style. The Warrior style has left the building.
Chaos just chaos
He
just
lifts an eyebrow.
chaos just gives a little fun of that. I mean, it does look very good on you.
Thank you. I'm not entirely sure why you would give me the choice, though. I don't necessarily know where to start. Most of what I've been trying to focus on is just trying to figure myself out sooner so I could just get back to the Isles and fix whatever I broke.
And that's the problem. You're thinking too much, darling. As he like grabs his shoulders and lifts him up. You do not think, you do. So pick a place, pick any place. As he like poofs away, and there's like a dartboard of inkwell, and there's a dart now in 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 Belle's hand. Or
And
leave it
Bell
up
is,
to
of course,
chance. I say we'll see what happens.
Bell is gonna look at what I assume is just the funny little world map,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna pull it up. That way I can decide to roll for him. So give me just a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we're gonna go with a D. We'll go with a D8 actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know. So let me just get his D8 real quick.
Yeah. You go ahead.
One, two, three, four, 5, 6. And because Bell doesn't fully know where to go, he kind of can't think of it himself. He doesn't do the full cartoony thing of hiding his eyes from the board and just blindly tossing somewhere, even though that's clearly the intent.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you can tell that he's overthinking it more than a Toon should in his current amnesiac condition.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of mostly looks away, but leaves an eye on the board, just readies a toss, and I'm going to make up a dexterity check to see if he actually hits the marker if I have to re-roll.
Yay.
Because I believe it is sleight of hand for these.
Yeah, I would do sleight of hand.
Please tell me your sleight of hand is good, buddy. It's supposed to be. Okay, Okay. On a 15, the dart just whizzes through the air, and with a resounding thunk, it lands in. I'm going to go ahead and roll a 1d3, which is just a 1d4 without the 4. Come on, let's see where he lands. The 4 is a reroll. Come on, buddy, please. And he winds up landing in happiest place.
Ooh, Happy's place. Perfect. Sometimes I think those people get a little bit too comfortable where they sit. They're close to Toontown, but they don't get half the chaos. Sometimes I like putting them in their place.
Yeah, that does sound more like you, doesn't it? He's not prepared for wherever chaos takes him to next. He's just in the middle of just like quipping at him a little.
Look, I have to make sure the chaos is all spread out evenly, and that place doesn't get as much as it should. But let's head over there as he does a little twirl and to like change outfits and does like in a very Disney-esque sort of outfit. It's like, oh, that's a little bit too on the nose. As he twirls around again and does a little bit more of a less Disney-esque, more Happy's Place memorabilia.
I hope he doesn't try to put Belle in any of that.
No, he doesn't. So he doesn't. He just grabs Belle around the shoulders and teleports into Happy's Place.
And he's off. It's just the disappearing voice beam of just whoop, and then just vanish with the echo. Just one frame there, the next poof.
And now we're in front of they're in front of the castle.
Oh no, nope, no, we're not doing a castle thing. Nope, we're going home. Excuse me. He turns around and tries to skedaddle right back out.
Chaos holds him with like one finger. Oh, we don't have to do the castle if we don't want to. Let's go with they teleport again. He's like, how about the Magic Academy? And this is from like the Disney sort of hat sort of thing. It's just like with all the students around.
Mm-hmm. Belle, of course, is again standing there for a moment. Now, Chaos is appropriately covered up in all his memorabilia, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you teleport Belle in public?
Yes.
I assuming it's a yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, there's a split second. As soon as he sees if literally anybody is around in the rain, if he sees even one person so much as pass by, he is in fact going to disguise himself because nope, absolutely not. Not doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and make him a... I would love if the dog would stop barking for like 5 seconds. We're just going to roll a... Barky. Anyway, just going to roll a 1d2. 1 is Disguise Kit. 2 is just the innate shape change ability, no physical costuming required. He quickly turns around, and because he is just a little Muppet born, he takes off parts of his face and fully rearranges it like a Mr. Potato Head. And when he turns back around, he is giving himself a big, fluffy, fuzzy, dignified mustache and made him look like a proper gentleman instead.
Chaos.
Complete with the droopy-looking, elegant eyes and the monocle and everything, ears tucked down and everything.
Chaos.
The horn is hidden beneath his fancy golden top hat that he got from Kita.
Chaos just and shakes his head. Ugh. That's no fun, disguising yourself. Say,
How do you think the people people going to react if they see me out here?
Oh, and bright terror, which is lots of fun to scare people.
Yes, it's probably a lot of fun for you. That's a lot of attention toward the fact that I casually appear out of nowhere.
Exactly, that's
Usually,
where
they
half the
either
fun is. You used to love to jump scare people. You were
I'm gonna roll my memory check. It says, "Oh, I'm sure the scaring part is fun until you get a shotgun shell to the face. I'm sure it's quite entertaining."
well, that's why you dodge.
Let me just go ahead. Ah, that's a history. What's your history modifier? It's just a +2. Would you say a 14 would invoke a roll on the memory table, or a 14 fails?
I say 14 would. It's a good amount.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And we'll say 17. So that's a d20. Just minus a few numbers. We'll say 17 and up is not listed. Eight. Okay. Six. Ah. I. Okay. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna paste this to you in DMs before I decide to describe it
Fair enough.
real quick, so you can see what the dice roll conveniently as
Oh boy.
Chaos is expressing, that playful disappointment of, "Oh no, you used to love just going out without disguises and masks. That's the point of dodging bullets." I want you to know, Winona, that I am looking directly at you. Just
Yeah.
not like the office camera, it's just like a look of knowing is exchanged. Bill, of course, opens his mouth to try and defend the whole thing because, again, most of the response he's gotten after losing his memory and for a while there being a black and white muted tone was, fear and apprehension and usually weapons pointed at his face. And at the time, he didn't really remember a way to defend or stand for himself. So the first reaction was, "Oh, run." As
Yeah.
he thinks of it, though, even though the disguise does help as somebody hurries by in the normal rain that's here instead of any marshmallow or jelly bean rain, and is just trying to hurry back to wherever they stay, he kind of just. You do see the way that his ears, which he originally made droop for the visual act of looking like a gentleman, droops a little more on the emotional side instead. And he does look a little guilty, even though he looks at that nice, fancy, shiny top hat he's got.
Well, I guess things take time. But, let's say, it doesn't mean we can't still play some pranks here and there. As Chaos snaps a finger, and that one person that was hurrying by, let's say, he slips on himself as the water turns to ice.
I'm imagining Bill just watches him slide around and then eventually just crash into something as he just flinches. There's just an audible, fake car crash sound. I said that, and apparently someone decided to turn the Roomba on, so it's scraping against my door. Huh. Not necessarily the sound effect I was looking for. So you said I liked just heading out with you, and I didn't just make patches of ice onto people in the town, did I? Because that sounds a little blasé.
Depended on your mood. But yes, you used to be around with me all the time in a mask or something like that. Let's say, though, if I do remember, you say, even though you always did want to show who you really were. But honestly, baby steps. I'm just trying to get you to have some fun.
I mean, there's not a lot of people out here. I don't know where the fun is.
That's why you make the fun yourself. Become a little bit creative.
He gestures again to the fact there's barely anybody out. He's intrigued, but he is gesturing the fact that where do you start when nobody else is out here?
What to start? What to start? Oh, you can always make a food fight in the food court. Oh, that's always a good classic one. Or the library has its own jokes and gags that you can pull through. Or maybe interrupt a class of some kind. Make sure say have the have the examples come to life. Ooh, that would be enjoyable too. Or maybe make a water park out of this rain. A real water park.
You just said water park twice.
Exactly. It's a play on words because there's water and we could be in a park and we could have some fun.
That's not a. You can see the way the gears are turning in Bell's head before they eventually just stop turning, and he just shakes his head. How about we just look around and we see what we find to start?
All right then. Lead the
And I'm
way.
gonna roll him investigation.
Lead the way. Let your heart be your guiding key. Yes, I
You've
did do that
gotta
on
cut-
perfect.
You have to cut the cheesy shit out, man.
Oh, but I love cheese. As he takes out like a big wheel of cheese and starts nibbling on it.
God, if that isn't a mood, I say as the DM above board. I hate being lactose intolerant so fucking bad. Anyway, D20 for an investigation check. Let's see if Belle finds some trouble. Now, when I make this roll, I'm actually going to pull up a different table from one of the official D&D books, because there are tables for going out on the town. So,
Mm-hmm.
what is your modifier for investigation? You don't use that a lot. +2. 13. Would you say a 13 would find some trouble to cause?
I think it would at least be a minimum of a little trouble.
Alright, let me check which book this is in, because one of the books has tables for different activities you can do in town on your downtime, including carousing, gambling, that kind of thing, selling magic items.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got the whole bit for rolling for the prices for some of the magical items that are available in my boy's special store. I just gotta remember where it is, because it's either the Dungeon Master's Guide or the... Yep, okay, never mind. It's the Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm glad it was the first pick. I believe we're returning to page 127 instead. That's the weather page. 127. Those are the prices of ships. I'm not looking for those. Those are traps.
I mean, there are little steamboats that go in between the parks. As someone who's been,
I know.
Hee.
I'm just trying to actually grab the actual downtime activity section instead
I
of
think
going
that's-
past prices of things.
Yeah, I think that's in the DM's guide if I remember correctly.
That is what I'm directly looking at.
Fair enough.
That is what I'm flipping through, Winona. I'm getting there. The nice thing of having the physical book is to flip through.
No,
It's just a matter
that's
of...
understandable. Books are nice to flip through.
Okay, so let's see. Downtime activities. Hang on, that's not correct. Hang on a minute. Hey, where's the fucking rest of... Oh, there's the carousing table. Okay, I had scrolled past the other downtime activities. My bad. Okay, so give me just a moment. Let me pull up a different 85. We're not going with combat. We're just looking for trouble to make. Okay, cool. Winona, would you roll me a d20?
I will definitely roll a d20. That's a nat 1.
Okay, so as Bell kind of walks around, and he does kind of eventually He realizes his trident is still on display, so he turns that into an umbrella for the rain instead, just to, help with the disguise a little for now.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of feels a little silly that he actually slipped up on showing the trident for more than 5 minutes. And as he's just kind of pretending to walk along, he eventually finds about not a group necessarily. There's like one or two people that are walking down the sidewalk, but one of them is wearing some very distinctive jewelry. Would you roll me a d4?
All right. That's a 4.
They're wearing some very pretty bracelets out on display. And it looks like they're trying to hurry home from what should have been a social event, as it's clear by the fact that they're not fully dressed for rain. This is a party dress, clearly, and it's soaking wet. And while it's partially the urge to cause trouble, it's also partially that feeling of, ooh, shiny to pick up. Because his hand just kind of, you know that itch you get when you want to really, really grab something, pick something up?
Mm-hmm.
He just gets that little itch, and he stops walking the way he's going, and I'm going to roll him stealth as he starts walking the same way as the gal with the dress.
Yeah. Also have advantage just because chaos is helping you. As he
Alright.
takes notice in your itchy hands.
Thank you for the advantage. That would have been a 2 otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bloody. So that is stealth. So if you hadn't given the advantage, it would have been 2 plus 3, so it would have been a 5.
Yeah.
Instead, that is a 16 plus 3 for a 19. It is absolutely framed in the comedic subtext here, but if it was not for the fact this is meant to be a funny scenario, you could absolutely see the framing as being the start of a horror movie. Poor lady's trying to hurry her way back after some social event, and there's just this shadowy figure tailing her without making a sound. Eyes just glowing under the brim of the umbrella as he shadows her every step. I'm gonna go ahead and roll her perception. She doesn't get any modifiers because she's, you know. That was cocked. That landed on some of the other die. Can it? Look, Percy, I love you. Can you politely please stop bouncing and landing on top of the other die? You need to land on the bottom of the dice tray to count. Thank you, though. Okay, that'll do. There is a point that she almost comes close, as she is kind of waiting at a crosswalk where there are various, horse-drawn carriages and other vehicles passing by. They're not the kind that would cause any full visible accidents. It's just like quiet travel, quickly getting from place to place, but they've stopped here for a moment, causing a little bit of a jam. And as she's just waiting for the chance to properly cross, there is a moment that Belle's foot, which he hasn't disguised, mind you, so Belle's hoof accidentally catches the tail of a cartoon cat, and there's a cartoon yowling sound effect. Belle kind of jumps like 5 feet in the air and darts out of sight. She turns at the sound, and the cat, whose poor tail got stepped on, is just running out and away. Thankfully avoids any vehicles, just disappears in a cloud of smoke. She watches that for a moment, just clutches her chest, and does clutch the fact that she does have a necklace of pearls, so clutching her pearls quite literally, and then just doesn't even bother looking back where Belle hid. He's just standing there for a minute, his fur fluffed up slightly, just looking startled. And then he also just glances back out. And he's gonna try and make a move. So as she's waiting at the crosswalk, he's going to approach. Umbrella's still held up, of course. Excuse me, madam. Hey. Sorry. Do you want me to? No, no, you don't have to move. And he holds up his other gloved hand. That way she doesn't scoot away. I just noticed you didn't happen to have an umbrella today. If you would like, you could take cover under mine until you get where you need to go. And I'm going to roll him persuasion. Buddy. That's a 4 plus 3. Oh, no, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. But I've been through half of the rain already. I just need to really hurry home and I'll be able to dry off. I'll remember to bring an umbrella next time, though. Oh, that's quite all right. And of course, as she doesn't necessarily scoot away, but she doesn't scoot any closer, just takes the time under the umbrella to wring out part of her cartoon hair. It's just quiet for a moment. The vehicles still have not stopped for her to cross. Belle's spaded tail slowly just starts to sneak over while he's talking. So, what are you heading home from? Oh, just a party held by some of my friends. You know, tea party. How it is. Oh, a tea party. Oh, I don't see people hosting those a lot. Did you have fun? Oh, yeah, it was great getting to catch up with everybody. And it's clear she's kind of just focused on getting home, but I'm going to roll him a deception check this time. Wait, do you have your... You do not. Bless you. Okay. That is a 15 plus 6. So 6. That's a 21.
Ooh.
So she's clearly caught up in conversation, and she doesn't notice the fact that Belle's incredibly long devil tail is sneaking over to her dress as he's just keeping her occupied in conversation. And he's just trying to think of the briefest way that he can distract her in a way that he's able to get a grab at the bracelets without drawing attention. And the simplest thing would be an accident, you know, make her nearly fall over. So she needs to make an athletics check as the tail just kind of tugs on her ankle and makes her slip.
Hee hee.
She rolled an 8. That's not going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to roll him a quick acrobatics to see if he can catch her. That's cocked. Landed on the roulette table die that I have. 15 plus 3, so that's an 18. Yeah, the tail just sort of... It doesn't wrap around her ankle, it just kind of catches the back of her heel. And just sort of, you know, because it's slick with water because of the rain that's falling, just yank. Her ankle just slips out from behind her and she about falls over. And he successfully manages to swoop over and catch her. Paws on her wrists. There's a startled sound and she briefly flinches like she thought she was going to hit the floor, but then glances around. Glances up. Oh! Shoot! Sorry, sir. It must have slipped. No, it's quite all right. Are you all right? That almost looked like it would have been miserable. Oh, I'm fine. I'm not entirely sure what I stepped on, though. She'd say as she'd look down, and the tail would be conveniently completely out of view by the time she would check her ankle. But no, it just looks like a puddle of water was nearby. And I'm going to go ahead and roll him sleight of hand to see that he can successfully grab the bracelets. Let me just go ahead and... That's a 14 plus 6 for a dirty 20.
Yeah,
She's,
dirty 20.
she needs to roll a perception check to see if she notices or not. Because passively, that's not gonna,
Mm-hmm. Which I would argue maybe passively, but fair.
a dirty 20, she's 11 is a normal passive perception anyway. She
True,
didn't
yeah.
notice a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, he released her, and you're the only one that's seen that he has the bracelets in his paws and sneakily sneaks them over to his hammer space before she can see.
Yeah, and Chaos is actually just invisible during all this. He's just smiling.
And finally, the carriages stop. And while he pretends to look like he's going to offer his umbrella again, she goes, I'll just go ahead and head off now. Thank you. Have a good day, sir. Oh, you too, madam. Goodbye. And he gives her an elegant little wave. She hurries off. And when she's out of sight, Bell turns around, heads the exact same way he came, and pulls the bracelets right back out of his hammer space. I'm gonna have to roll him a d10. He just put those there.
Yeah, Chaos, you see a pair of floating eyes like, well done there.
A 5 successfully pulls them back out. I mean, I guess that was simple enough. These are pretty, though.
Indeed, very nice looking pearls.
Oh no, I grabbed the bracelets. She still had her pearls. That was a bit too risky of a grab.
Well, I say, right. I guess these are for nothing then. As there's like a hand appears with a necklace of pearls.
Oh, so you decide you just want to show off while I'm trying to do something, huh?
Look, we always had these little competitions. It was always fun.
Mm-hmm.
But did you have fun?
A little, but I mean, that's just the stuff I've normally been doing. It's not really had the same kick lately. It is nice, though, and he's gonna put them back in his hammer space.
How about we try
I
some?
don't know.
So you go. You go first.
I don't know. It's just normally pickpocketing or just tricking people out of whatever's on their person. That normally used to scratch an itch, but I don't know. These are nice, but I wouldn't have called that fun. Just nice.
That's fair. Maybe we go somewhere a little bit more crowded. Maybe say as he makes a flick towards the library. Have some fun there.
All right, but if I have to talk to any nerds, it's on you. He says, as if there isn't a cartoon arrow pointing to him that directly says he is also a nerd with an intelligence score of a solid 15.
Hee hee.
But yeah, he decides to go ahead and head on over. And of course, closes his umbrella and sets it somewhere to. He pretends to set it somewhere to dry, but he just makes it disappear on his way in. What exactly can we even do around a library anyway? I can't imagine really going here for fun.
Oh, you think too little. Watch this. As the eyes disappear, and there's like it's sort of like a Cheshire cat, as there's like a smile that appears before it disappears. As as Belle walks around, he knows like there's other people, other people like studying or doing stuff. It's again
Enjoying the rainy atmosphere of reading with the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I know I would.
As you hear, as librarians are walking around and everything, you see in particularly a little, one of the one of the students like be reading, but then a sound comes from them and they're like, huh? What? And then the librarian's like, shh. I thought he was like, oh, I'm not doing shh. All right. And then a little bit while later, another thing has like another different sound, and someone else gets in trouble. It's sort of a chain reaction, as like there is a make a perception check.
Sure thing. That is a 15.
With a 15, you get is a it's like each sound is like its own notes from a different instrument, and as they chain together, it makes a little song. And there's librarians like running around the library trying to think of who the hell is making music and where is it coming from.
Belle is doing a decent job acting like just a confused library patron, but the bushy mustache he has conveniently put on his face is doing a very good job of hiding the fact he's starting to smirk. And then he looks over and he happens to spot one of the other folks working at the library who has a pair of noise-blocking headphones on and appears to be sorting books.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll to see whether he decides to mess with them or not.
Hee hee.
So this is a confidence check. Buddy, that's not great.
I mean,
but a six plus a 6 does beat a 10. So
yeah.
he's a little nervous at first because, firstly, Chaos is already doing a decent job. Just you can probably hear one of the other librarians complaining, like, "Who let the musical ghosts in again?" But aside from that, it's just a pleasant little havoc. And the music falls just slightly to the background as Belle just glances over to this lady with the noise-blocking headphones, because it also reflects that she's wearing noise-blocking headphones, so she doesn't hear the music, or the rain or anything. And Belle glances at that for a moment, glances between that and whatever Chaos is doing, then back to her. He's just gonna take a deep breath and flick one of his fingers aside. And as she sets one of the books on the shelf and then reaches down to her little cart and picks up another to put somewhere else, he decides to just nudge that book back off the shelf and it falls on the floor. It's a slow gesture and she almost doesn't notice immediately, but when she goes to put that book up, she glances over and sees the empty section and then sees the book has fallen on the floor, it's open and everything, one of the pages is creased. It happens. And she gets a frustrated look. Reaches down, picks it back up, sets it on the shelf again. She goes down to get more books and put them away, and he just inches it out bit by bit by bit till it sticks out a bit. As she's putting them away, she eventually notices that and just catches the book before it falls out. She doesn't notice him doing it. She just catches the book. And that's when he makes one of the other books fall out and fall on her face. She only looks up at the very last second, and there's just a cartoon bonk sound effect.
Hehehe.
And she just reaches up and rubs her nose and her poor glasses, and he just snickers. I am going to roll her perception with disadvantage because of the headphones.
Yes.
That's the caps lock button, Mikey. We don't want that. After this check, by the way, we have hit the hour point, so that'll be time for a snack break.
Yeah.
A 16 is not bad for disadvantage. Let me go ahead and roll for Belle. Nana, hi. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you, baby girl. What? Is that? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you, baby. Aww. And by baby, I mean Sassy, my kitty.
Yeah. Thankfully, Roxas is asleep in the couch next to me. We had snuggles this morning, and I think that has calmed them down for the afternoon.
Alright, so that's a 17 plus 3. So a dirty 20. He is conveniently, right next to the bookshelf. It's like one of those towering library bookshelves that,
Oh, yeah.
has the long wooden siding. He's, conveniently just ducked out of sight, so she looks like she's looking around almost to make sure nobody, saw her get hit in the face with a book. And, yeah, Belle isn't noticed. As he glances back and she gets back to picking up the books and grumbling, he tucks another one out and it bonks her on top of the head and she drops the books and he ducks back out of sight and starts giggling. And we'll cut back to him in a minute, as we have reached our hourly break time.
Yeah. I
We'll be
shall.
right back after these messages.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. When we get back, I actually have to make a couple of perception checks real quick. So that's going to be 2d20 plus 2.
Yeah. Also, hi Roxas. You want to sit right behind me today? All right. You just.
Roxas loving hours, Kitty loving hours.
Yeah, he moved to on the windowsill right behind me as I sit in my recliner chair.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay, so that was one guard. Next is the other guard. As Bella's kind of just snickering at causing the lady some general misfortune with the books, he does happen to hear the doors quickly open and shut, as a couple of the guards from Magic Academy campus have apparently been brought in by one of the libraries, because again, they have assumed it is musical ghosts. Bell conveniently ducks out of sight as the guards storm in and try to look around, but he's decided he needs to find his way out immediately. He would like not to have a scuff with guards just yet.
And you have an advantage with
With stealth, yeah, he's GTFO. He is GTFO.
because not only that, but also magical musical instruments appear and it's like Haunted Mansion, the Eddie Murphy one where they just suddenly appear and they swarm the guards.
Eddie Murphy's is the only one I know, so you're good on that.
They're actually making a new one.
No, I'm aware. That's the exact same. Belle, honey! I just rolled 2 8s. Conveniently, on the set of dice they have, the 8 is the number that looks most like the Cuphead Devil, complete with the ears and horns, but the problem is that is, 8 plus 3, so that's an 11?
I mean,
Their passive perception is 12. So as Belle is hurrying out, one of the guards turns, sees the stranger with the shiny golden top hat, and I'm gonna roll a vibe check. They're gonna insight check. That's also to see through the disguise, but... So this is just gonna be for both of them. No additional...
They'll have to do with disadvantage.
Okay, fair. So the first one with 12, I'll have to roll Belle's disguise for, and 2d20 second one. Yeah, I'm gonna say the nat 20 is still gonna break through on the second one, so the first one won't notice. Mm-hmm. But let me roll for Belle, see how good his disguise is. I believe it's proficient. He decided to use proficiency and just mix around his thing, so proficiency at the moment is +3. That's deception, so... 9. So, Bella hears one of the guards go, "You there! Halt!" And he briefly stops for a minute, just with a look to the just because the camera kind of focuses on his face, he has a look of, oh shit. Because he thinks he's been caught for a minute. And as he hears the armored boots of one of them approach while the other one is nervously trying to fend off instruments, he goes, "You wouldn't have happened to see which delinquent's responsible for this, would you?" "Me? Oh, no, heavens no, sir. Well, I mean, I wouldn't quite know a delinquent when I see them." "Well, somebody had to summon these instruments." And he gestures to the fact there are now floating instruments that the other guard is kind of, fighting back with his pike and just sort of trying not to yell in fear, because why are there instruments? Oh no, oh no, honey. Hi, I'm sorry. Oh no. Hi, honey. Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb your sleep. I'm sorry. Kiss, kiss. Yeah. Poor baby was having a dream, and when I yelled, not yelled, when I raised my voice, I saw her ears and her body start twitching, and I knew I'd added to her nightmare, so I was like, oh no, I must wake the kitty. Poor baby. Like, he's just... The guard is trying to put on a brave face while he's fighting instruments, but like there's also instruments in a library. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll deception for Belle, and I'm just gonna do this straight and see if the dice are faithful to him or not. Come on, Percy. Ah, buddy. That is a solid 12. One more insight on the guard. Oh, I'm not using Belle's dice. I gotta use the... Okay, so he's gotta beat a 12. That's it. That's all he gotta do. So, Belle kind of stands there and thinks for a moment, and it's kind of for a split second. There's almost visible sweating. And he goes, well, I mean, I didn't quite see anybody I think would look like a delinquent. But I did see someone who looked like they were listening to the music over there, and he points to the girl with the noise-canceling headphones, who still has not noticed. With a nat 1 on insight, the guard turns to look at her, and immediately storms toward her, scaring the shit out of her when he takes her by the shoulder and starts interrogating her. The poor gal looks to be terrified as Belle quickly makes his way out of the building with no guilt whatsoever over this poor staff member. And
Yes.
quickly gets the fuck out of Dodge.
That was lots of fun. Causing chaos in a library is always a nice little treat.
Yeah, that's a nice treat if you're a ghost. I don't exactly get what you... That was fun, yeah, but I don't entirely get what you think
Oh,
would
that
be...
was fun. Did you say that was fun? Chaos is just smiling.
It was a little fun, but it's not something a devil does. That's something a poltergeist does.
I mean, I wear many, many hats. As there's a giant stack of hats that goes up to his space.
Yes, you're fine. And he takes a moment to shake himself out of the... You're fine. That's... Do you really think it's exactly intimidating for me to just go around messing with people in a library?
No, but why don't you tell me
has...
what would be something a devil would have fun in?
I mean, I would assume killing people?
Yes, there isn't fun in that, but what else?
Could you roll insight on him?
Yes. That is going to be... Let me just check this. That's going to be a 28.
He did not say that with confidence. You're thinking he doesn't actually remember what devils do for fun. He's just going off of what he knows.
Oh,
and well, he knows a little because he had the fucking vibe check headbutt dream and got reunited with a sliver of his divinity. The problem is the memory that he's pulling from of what other devils do for fun might not be fully Toonkind Devil's version of fun.
Oh, no. That's not Toonkind versions of Devil's Fun. You're thinking of the real kind version. Not to say it's exactly wrong, depends on the context. If you're playing the villain, say that might be a different subject, but this is not that subject at all. Say that's not your version of fun. Remember, darling.
Is that to prompt a memory check?
Yes.
Straight or with advantage?
With advantage, as Chaos sort of just messes with his fur. And say using some divine inspiration.
Okay, so that is a history check to look inward. With advantage, that is a 19 plus 2 for a 21. Belle kind of sits there, and at first, of course, you ruffling his fur immediately makes him bristle up because, hey, you not allowed to touch. Fuck off. But firstly, it's not like he can do anything to stop you. Second, he is significantly shorter than you, so good fucking luck trying. And third, even though he bristles up at first, he kind of really, really, really tries to think on it a little. As the rain that is not made of jelly beans or marshmallows just pitter patters on the brim of his hat. And he kind of reaches up and feels it a bit as he thinks. And as he thinks, of course, yes, he goes back to that first memory that did prompt a look of guilt when he was disguising himself for fun again. Which brought up a disguise not of somebody fancy like a gentleman or a ringmaster, perhaps not fully a disguise altogether. It brings to mind memories of a performance. It was a theater troupe full of acrobats and trapeze artists and all these other fun folks. One of them in particular, as part of a theatrical performance, wearing the outfit of Arlecchino, except Arlecchino's mask looks a little more familiar than the traditional Arlecchino, with the similar toony features and sharp horns. The figure underneath is a round, deep red-skinned individual, a beautiful acrobat to be sure, and a wonderful performer with this dusty, soft pink hair. The disguise that Belle was most familiar with, but not necessarily the one he liked the most. He would learn to like it more later, but with the initial memory, it's just a memory of wearing his own face to perform. That sort of drifts a little bit as he tries to think, what did he find fun? What would a Toon Devil find fun? And causing trouble was part of it, yeah. Pulling pranks, causing a little mischief, but that doesn't seem like something you'd take seriously. But misfortune generally seemed to be what comes to mind. Causing people to lose lucky pennies, getting somebody absolutely soaking with mud as a car passes by, stealing somebody's valuables while they're not looking, convincing somebody to spend enough money at a slot machine that they go a little under. But nothing really distinct stands out, and he can't fully remember the fun behind it. Like when he thinks of something fun, he does think of that trouble, but the memory of the feeling does not come back. It's just kind of the imagery and the implication of it.
Mm-hmm.
The first thought that comes to mind, but he still looks kind of conflicted on the matter. Another form of fun, of course, that immediately does come up, which is probably the faster instinct of the bunch, was, of course, conning people out of their souls. But he's been collecting people's souls lately, and that hasn't been the most fun, so how would conning somebody out of their soul be fun? You don't hear any of these thoughts, mind you. You were just sitting there, seeing him stand in the rain thinking, and he has not answered you in a few minutes.
Penny for your thoughts.
What?
Copper for your thoughts.
Oh, right, you asked me I'm sorry, you asked me a question. What was your question again?
What do Toon Devils like for fun?
Well, I mean, from what I've heard of the imps, they just generally like terrorizing people, but their definition of terrorizing people is very plain, just making things disappear, moving things around, pulling a hair, terrorizing people's pets, that kind of thing. But an imp is a little different from a... It's not fully different from a devil, but... Oh no, I'm so much better with words. I'm really out of it today.
This is why we need to stretch those bones. Need to re-jog some things. To say, no memories in particular of where you like to roam?
Well, I mean, the memories of where I like to roam are the Isles, but I can't go back there yet.
I mean, yes. But there are, like, themes here. Say places that, like, both things have. Anything else that comes to mind of where do you like to go for fun?
Where would I like to go for fun? And of course, it brings to mind boulevards, fairs, circuses, clubs, stage, somebody singing. And he shakes that thought out before he can get depressed again. Absolutely just shakes the thought of the club out of his head. Just fucking tosses it out of his ear. I mean, I would say fairs, circuses, theaters. I'm gonna roll him deception to see if he can actually hide the fact of the other thing. Oh no, buddy. So that's Do you
Oh,
want to guess? Do you want to guess what he rolled before I say it?
I want to say a nat 1.
No, but you're not far off. That's a 3 plus 6 for a 9. You can roll insight if you want, but you don't have a difficult number to beat, and I don't think you even need to try.
I don't.
But you can if you
No,
want.
I mean, his. No, he can see right through it just looking at his sheet.
Yeah, I'm just imagining him pulling out Belle's fucking character sheet and now that you've said that. Fuck. So yeah, he does list a few locations. He doesn't seem fully certain, and it does seem like he about said another one, but he does a very poor job of covering it up.
Ah,
As
ah.
he just kind of glances back at the now distant library, as the guards have now come out with the poor gal with the noise canceling headphones, thinking she's the culprit.
Chaos grins and like a Cheshire cat sort of wraps around him with a giant smile. It's like, oh, come on. You don't
Yeah.
need to you don't need to hide things from me. What was that last thing?
And he kind of just puffs off a bit in your grip for a minute. Firstly, because, again, invasion of personal space. He is that close to turning into a porcupine. But he actually looks a little flustered for a minute. And for a moment, you're kind of surprised to think he looks a little shy, actually.
Ah, what did he hear? What did he? What was that? As he like cups a hand over his goat ear. A little bit louder, just a teeny bit.
He just kind of inhaled through his nose, and I want to make sure I get the term right, so I actually need to look up a specific 1930s, 1960s word real quick.
Fair enough.
Because, again, even though he died and came back, and his style is timelessly 30s to 60s, the more things change, the more the vocabulary stays the same.
Fair.
So, let's see. Gay rights, yeah, I'm looking for a specific term. Thank you. These articles are lovely. Do you have the specific term, please? I'm trying to look for a word that I remembered that was used for gay clubs in the 1930s. But I suppose I could just say gay clubs.
Fair enough. You'll remember it. It'll just come to you when you least expect it.
And then I'll be embarrassed that I forgot. So, You just kind of come here and get close, and he just takes a deep breath through his nose. And I'm going to roll him one last little save, and it's for composure. To see whether he briefly loses temper or not. Oh, now you roll a high number, Percy. Nightclubs.
Ooh, nightclubs. Oh, those are always fun. Woohoo.
You will at least note on his low deception and your high insight, he says nightclubs. The flustered expression on his face says gay clubs. So gay nightclubs.
Oh, I know a perfect place for that. Toonkind, say Toontown has the greatest gay nightclubs. As he snaps his finger, and they disappear and reappear in a tune in a tune in a Toontown gay nightclub.
Yeah, and I did just do the perfect noise you make, just this high, just a high from it. Ah! And he is immediately hiding in more of your wrapped up lindworm dragon what the fuck ever shape to hide from you, because he's definitely not dressed for a nightclub. Why did you bring him here? No! Put me back, put me back, put me back! He's like tapping you to take him out. He's like tapping out, like tap, 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 tap.
Oh, you're right. You're not properly dressed. Here, let me help you. As they both go into a
No!
into a changing room that suddenly appears and Chaos like gets out of it and like leaves him in the changing room.
Hi, honey. I woke up the kibby. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I am sorry. Belle was just having flashbacks to when you forcibly bathed him and washed the black and white monochrome off. Just immediate flashbacks, and he's trying not to get dragged in, but nope, gets dragged into a changer, and there's like various sound effects, crashing noises, it bounces around a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually going to roll the roulette table d20. And I'm going to ask one of our listeners at the moment. Dear listener, would you say odds is disguised or evens is disguised? Hoosh, that means I'm talking to you. Also, for context, when I say roulette table d20, my brother Lyle got me this fancy metal die for a gift. I don't remember if it was a birthday or not. That was essentially a spinning top d20 because, it's one of the spinny tables where, like, the roulette table where you would put the ball in and place your bet and it spins around. But it's just a spinny top that's styled like that, and it's just a metal d20. So, our listener says evens is disguised. So evens is he still looks relatively like a humanoid. Odds is he is just himself, but dressed up nice. And I believe that's kind of... It's the lowermost number, I believe, if I remember my brother's word on reading this correctly. That is an odd. I now need to make one more roll with a d4. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And let me do one more roll. You can go ahead and describe how Chaos looks coming out of the dressing room, and I'll get it in just a sec.
Chaos comes out of the dressing room in a tiefling disguise, but it's more of a toon tiefling disguise, as his skin is a sort of a gray is a grayish color with horns that are pure black that still are sort of lopsided. One's a more traditional tiefling horn that is like all stuck up, and the other one is sort of like a ram's horn that curls behind his ear. And he has black and white hair, which they're in streaks. And he still has that sort of like fuzzy, like more thicker eyebrows and like a little goatee, is a little beard, but he does look more roguishly handsome.
Honestly, solid 10 out of 10. Bell sits in there a little longer than you expect. There's various sounds of struggle. He's apparently telling somebody to watch where they're applying things, but it's very clearly just played up for sound effect. And eventually, Bell is nudged right back out the same way he came, and nearly stumbles and trips on his way up because he's not used to it. And the first thing you notice is it's a little note for Chaos, since you actually knew him before. Usually, Bell would be depicted with a heavy fur coat, because his fur is normally thicker than this. So you could kind of already tell early on that apparently Bell gave a layer of his fur to someone else, otherwise he would be a fluffier boy by now.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody else is wearing it somewhere. You just don't know where. But he appears to be wearing a... I hope I can describe this correctly. It is a... Can I please? Thank you. It is a black dress, but it is one of those black glittery dresses. The long kind that has the sleeves going down and also stretches down the leg. Probably has the slit up one of the legs.
Mm-hmm.
His... Normally, hair would be done up, but he doesn't have a lot of fur on his head. So his fur has been styled in a bit of a shorter sort of flappers updo. I would have a better photo of it at a different point, but unfortunately I don't have much of a way to describe it as more of just... It's a little bit of an updo. It's got some curl here and there. It's a little poofy hairstyle. It's cute. And he comes with this lovingly embroidered fancy fan with feathers at the end, a headpiece that happens to have feathers attached, and a little bit of a fascinator to it, and very clearly eyeliner and eyelashes that have emphasized the shape of his UPA and eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And also accented the point of his goatee, which has been lovingly curled. He just kind of stands there for a minute, looks himself over, feels the dress over a bit. He glances back, of course, to make sure, and yeah, the tail's out. The tail fits, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. He was kind of afraid he'd have to make room for it, but no, it seems the outfit is quite pretty and actually works out quite well. And of course, the one leg that's visible is, in fact, wearing... Well, it kind of takes you a moment to notice, because again, he has to turn the right way as he's looking himself over. It sits between the knee and the thigh, but these high boots that have mouths on the ankles.
Nice.
Ankle biters, if you know what they are.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't suppose I've dressed up like this in a hot minute. And he kind of glances back at his tail, where there is also a little decorative flourish attached to his tail, which he shakes the tip of his tail to shake a little. It makes a little jingly noise. Ooh! Oh no, I haven't been to a club in... I don't remember when, actually. You sure you don't want me to sit this one out? I can sit this one out. I can absolutely sit this one out.
Oh, come on. I know you love these. This will be fun just like the old times. Do you like my outfit? It's a little bit throwback, too. I usually don't go with tiefling. I usually go with some sort of animal or go creature, but I felt like being a tiefling again.
Oh no, the tiefling suits wonders for you, darling. I mean, every little accent just helps to bring out your natural colors, and the hairstyle is to die for.
Oh, yes. Again, I was going for that roguish look.
I hope you didn't erase too much of your age, though, because some people are into silver foxes.
A little bit. I'm more of that ambigu. I can't speak right now. I say,
You prefer to leave your age ambiguous.
yes, that's the word. Jeez. No,
Understandable. And you watch him just playfully pull up the fan as he just playfully teases cowards talk. And just struts past you.
I'm no coward. I just love playing the field.
Mm-hmm. And he just, even though he kind of struts to the door, he still nervously peeks in. And since you know what club they've ended up at, would you do the honor of describing it?
It's one of the classic sort of nightclub sort of feels in Toontown. I say this is definitely an older club. It's been around the block a bit. You imagine that there has been probably some like Toontown prohibition in that happened in this club too. And they even advertise it a little bit. It's like, hey, this used to be a hot spot back then. You want to go see the speakeasy in there for the root beer? They say and everything. But there's also like places that there's like dancing. There's like little areas where you can dance for a bit. Of course, the bar is fully stocked with everything for Toonkinds and real kinds. So they cater to both. But yeah, it's like this sort of underground sort of cellar sort of thing.
Speakeasy. The term you're looking for is speakeasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes him a moment to realize, and oh, no, I suppose I am a little more familiar with this. I think there were more of these on the aisles.
Indeed. They sort of went out of fashion when God, there was actually an event that happened. I forgot what it was called, but it went out of style when the prohibition went out. But I always loved this little one.
They went out of style. Oh, no wonder I never came back to the continent. That's awful news. And he looks genuinely just distraught at the fact that it's like, sorry, speakeasies went out of style. Are you kidding?
I know, right? They just have like regular taverns and bars nowadays, but this one survived, and I love the feel that it brings. It is definitely a slice of history.
I mean, I suppose that's better than anything else. You seem like you're confident. Do you want to head in first? I'm gonna roll in deception to
That's
see
what it
if
was
he
called.
can find the fact he's nervous.
That's what it was called. It was the Great Root Beer Band.
Ah, buddy. The funny thing is, I actually need to pull up one of the little official Cuphead comics. There was a similar ban on a sugary drink because Baroness von Bonbon was confirmed to be smuggling.
Yeah.
Let me see if I could grab it real quick, but let me roll deception first.
Mm-hmm.
That's cocked. Can we please stop landing on the other dice? I get you need to show off, Percy. I love you very dearly. That's not much better, but that's a 9 plus, I believe it's a 6 for his deception, so 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 if you want to roll insight while I grab the comic book, actually.
Yeah. It was the Great Root Beer Band where basically their version of Walt it's just found one of the princes drinking and there's like, we're gonna ban this. And they did, and it did, and they
Spoil sport.
yeah, basically he is like, I don't like this. We're just gonna ban it. And then there was this whole root beer ban. There was like speakeasies and everything. I know that someone wrote a whole little history of what happened in the rule, and what was it actually called? It was really funny because it's like we're repealing a ban, and then it's like no, there's a whole list of things. I wish I can find it, but it was so funny. Yeah, this is actually the laws. They say the first law was the 1 mile law, then the second mile law, the 1 mile law again. They fucked up. That was in the name. The 69 mile law. Nice at the end. The who? the who the fuck passed the last law, which immediately overturned the 2nd mile law, and then the 5th mile law, and they decided that over a course of a couple hours they changed the laws back to normal.
Aw, that is firstly adorable, and you need to link me wherever you found that information because that's delightful and I want to fucking read about it. But
yeah, it's like a little short thing that they had on the Inkwell wiki. I'll post it right here in the audience chat.
All right, I'll glance at it later. For reference of what I'm about to bring up before we get back into it, Cuphead has a couple of official comics out, which were officially released by Dark Horse and endorsed by MDHR. There's only 2 out at the moment, but they have plenty of adventures inside. It was just, similar to the Archie comics, I guess, is the better thing. Like the Richie Rich kind of thing, where it's episodic.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of them, where it's literally just called Prohibition, Bon Bon has a brewery called Bon Bon Brewery, and has apparently been smuggling children her sweet bubble soda bombs and jelly joy juice. And it's the fucking bee cops that are apparently pouring it out because it's just like, sugar water and all this other stuff is apparently the fill-in for actual booze. Because down there, it's just Cuphead, Mugman, Miss Chalice, the others, and even Elder Kettle enjoying a bunch of the pink stuff. Also, there is apparently a dead Mario on this page. I didn't realize there was a skeleton with the fucking gloves and boots and a hat. Poor guy.
Fair.
But yeah, so basically, Bell just listens to all that, and I'm actually gonna roll to see if he remembers the funny little pink juice prohibition from the aisles.
Yeah, because, if I remember correctly, this happened over a while, but then they decided to change the law, and then it took then what happens in the course of the 7 hours between changing the law, they decide, this is too much. We're just gonna make it. We're gonna make it legal again.
He does not remember the fact that another prohibition happened on the aisles, sadly. That is a 5 + 2 for a 7. So he does have a look of disappointment. He sadly has no point of reference, but it's just a look of, oh, no wonder I stopped coming here. They got boring. Ugh. But yeah, your insight of 32, Jesus fucking Christ, and a communion wafer.
Yeah.
Well, Bell is putting on a very nice big smile and batting those beautifully penciled eyelashes because, again, he's maintained that thread of the UPA-an art style with a little something else you don't immediately notice unless you want to make the perception check to see.
I mean, you continue on.
He's putting on a bit of a show for the fact that he wants you to go in first because he seems to not be hiding well the fact that he's still nervous to go in, even though he is gussied up and dressed to the nines.
Which is fair. And he would say he struts on in. You see a cane appear, like a little fancy cane that you would see back in the Prohibition days, with a silver chimera goat head on it.
He, of course, would make note of that, and while normally with 1 or 2 of his other disguises, like Scratch the Swan, for example, he would also have a cane, he doesn't think he needs one this time, especially since he's got the fucking tall-ass boots. So he just decides to open up the fan and head on in and hope not too many people look at him, though I am going to roll real quick to just see how good it looks. So, I guess for funsies, if you want, this is just contesting D20s between us to see who gets more of the looks as we head in.
What would we roll then?
It has a general charisma modifier.
Alright, charisma?
Yeah, just your charisma modifier.
Alright.
Because, again, it's not necessarily performance, it's just differences in appeal.
Do you want to say persuasion then? Or nah, it's say charisma.
My persuasion ain't much better, homie.
I mean, that's a 26 for say chaos for ability check of Plus 10.
Okay, so what was your number?
26.
Okay. Now, as a small note, do you think Belle would roll this check straight or with advantage based on what Chaos knows of Belle?
Chaos would definitely help Bell get back in the swing of things, so he would like help him flourish. So it probably would be with advantage.
Okay. Because if that was not with advantage, that would have been an 8 plus 3 for an 11.
Look, he's a good wingman.
You say good wingman, Belle already has a guy. He doesn't need a wingman to set him up with anybody else. I say affectionately and in jest.
He.
But that is a 12 plus 3 for a 15, so that is not bad. Also, welcome back, Hoosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get a few decent. You get significantly more looks, but Bill does get a few, though he tries to avoid the fact that anybody's looking at him as he quickly finds himself a seat. It is so goddamn clear he has not been to a club in years. It is night and day in comparison.
Yeah. Well, Chaos just like moves so steadily and flowingly into this thing, very much making a show of himself and his cane, making it more obvious than he probably a normal person would as he sits down, crosses his legs, and he just opens up his hand and a drink flies in and he takes a sip from a crystal glass.
You know, people normally pay for those.
Not when you look this gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. You don't need an insight check to tell that Belle is trying not to be a little too jealous of that as he continues hiding behind his fan. He just makes a cheeky little order to the barman, even though you know for a fact he can't get drunk. And then continues hiding behind his fan.
Chaos is just relaxed. He's just relaxing in the sea. He twirls around so his like arms rest on his back and arms are like resting on the table as he looks around. He takes a sip. You could say, I know you're a bit nervous there, but you're fine. You're doing so good.
Yeah, says the man who's trying to broadcast that he's available to the entire bar. He then, of course, flashes a casual little smile as the bartender comes back with his drink, and he quickly snatches it and pays up with a couple gold coins. Let me go to his pockets real quick.
Maybe I'm being a little bit too showy for the first time, but I haven't been in one of these in a long time either.
I mean, there's probably a good reason considering you made it rain jelly beans and marshmallows earlier.
Oh, that's just simple pranks. When I'm serious about doing something, I go all out.
Mm-hmm. And he just takes a sip and tries not to be too conspicuous as he looks around. Now, of course, other people are enjoying themselves, but if you would insight check on Bill.
Oh, yeah. One second. Not the highest roll, but that's also a insight of a plus 18.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Hee hee hee.
I keep forgetting Chaos is a god. I kind of keep forgetting that until you tell me his modifier is fucking 18. Honest. Okay, so let me see if Bell can at all deception his way out of that. Because otherwise, fuck, I guess. That's a dirty 20, 14 plus 6. But yeah, Bill likes the atmosphere at the bar, and when he mentioned having fun at the bar, it's clear you didn't think he meant causing trouble, but you didn't quite fully know what he meant. At least not trouble in the traditional sense of what happened at the library. But even though he relaxes bit by bit watching the other, Guests go about their business, people dancing, talking, other people shooting their shot with others. It Bell does relax, but there's just a sort of lonely look to his eyes as he looks around. And would you just make a general intelligence check to see if you could maybe put two and two together as to why Bell found clubs fun?
Yes, indeed. Just a general intelligence. Alright.
Intelligence, or if you want to make it history, you can. It's still the same stat.
History. Let's see. 1 second.
Uh-huh.
I just need to double check something. Okay.
Though, in all fairness, considering the character you're playing, if you're... Yeah, I was about to say, if your history stat isn't jacked, I'd be confused. On a 27, it did not need to be a high DC since you knew Bell.
Mm-hmm.
You realize, oh, the clubs were probably more fun with Percy around. And he's not. And he hasn't been. For a while. And Bell hasn't seen him in a while. And maybe part of Bell was hoping if he looked around a club, he might see him, and he's not. And he's not gonna see him. So he's just hiding behind his fan and taking a drink, and you can you can put two and two.
Oh, I see now why you wanted to come here. Honestly, I should have known from the beginning. As he takes a sip, as he like rolls his glass around, as is one of those like circular ice cubes. You miss him.
Miss who?
Percy, of course.
What? No, I'm fine. I'm going to roll deception at disadvantage. You don't even have to do anything. It's just disadvantage because it's that bad.
Yeah.
Motherfucker!
How bad is this?
It's not bad. That's the funniest part. I rolled at disadvantage and rolled two nat 20s. God fucking damn it! Percy!
Oh my gosh.
I could take a photo with my fucking shitty ass
No,
camera.
no. This is perfect. I love this. I trust you.
Proof in the pudding. Two nat 20s on a fucking... If you want to try and roll insight, fucking sure, but that was two crits with a disadvantage, so...
No, that's a crit. That's a crit. Chaos.
So that's a nat 20 plus 6 because... What? No, of course I don't. I just missed the atmosphere, that's all. Besides, I've already sent him a letter, it's fine. I just need to wait for him to respond is all.
So he hasn't responded back.
The ears droop ever so slightly. No. I mean, I don't know, maybe he's busy, but...
But it still doesn't make you happy. So you're trying to get some of that happiness back. Memories of fond times in here are probably bittersweet if I had to take a guess.
Well, I mean, it is nice. I mean, nobody's given me a side eye just yet, and I do feel pretty in the dress and do.
And you do look gorgeous. I will say that you knocked out of the park with this one. He would have loved.
The fan kind of flutters a bit, and you could see the way his already red face just rosies right up. You know, in that traditional Toonie style. Oh, stop it, you.
Oh, trust me, you'd be swept off your feet by now. If he were here, he gives a wink.
And he completely hides his face behind the fan at that. Both to hide the blush and the fact that he definitely looks like he feels bad thinking about that, and the fact that, yeah, Percy's not here. And he's not going to be, because plans, but the missing part is what sucks. Because Bill doesn't wanna worry. Like, he sent paper birds. It should be fine. Maybe it just takes a minute because he didn't send any paper birds for Percy to use to write back? Maybe? It's fine. He's safe. He's good. Totally. No, no worries. It's fine. It's not like Belle's afraid of the worst. It's good. It's cool. It's fine. It's jazzy.
Chaos looks at him. It's just like, I think I know what's been missing in your life.
The ability to get drunk because I've now ordered 3 of these. And he holds up the fact he's held up a wine glass, and yeah, you can tell by the fact he's slowly been funneling out gold over the counter. He's just been constantly ordering wine.
I mean, of course, that's one of the things. I know. You know what? You gotta let me let you get drunk. I have that magic, but that's maybe not appropriate for right now.
I'm immune to poison. I can't get drunk. We've already established this.
Again, you forget that I'm a god, but that's a different topic for a different time.
Oh no, it's not a different topic for a different time. If you can get me drunk, fucking get me drunk, please. I'm begging you. I'd love to not think about this.
And that's the thing. This isn't a drunk that would get you, well, happy. This isn't a happy drunk moment. This is a sad drunk moment. And I comfort the party in the limelight.
He thinks about the limelight, and for a brief moment he thinks back to Allswell, and to the captain's tavern that was on the way to Goldwyn, and to the fact that he was allowed to perform with his fiddle on the stage, and he saw the others perform, and it was nice, and performing felt nice, and he's trying not to think about that. He's trying not to think about any other particular performance he might be missing, or the fact he misses performing. He's now on his 4th glass. I am going to roll him an intelligence check to see if maybe, just maybe, he can, not make an accidental wish. No advantage in this one. This is just a straight common sense check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 19 plus 2 is going to recall, yeah. So, no accidentally wishing he can get drunk. He just keeps that shit in his noggin. The wine tastes nice, and they do have a decent selection. You haven't really been listening to what he's been ordering, but you don't think he's been ordering the same thing twice, since he gets a completely different glass, which now appears to have a sparkly light green wine in it instead. But he's enjoying the atmosphere. He does miss Percy, though, but he's enjoying the atmosphere.
Chaos takes a sip of his glass, which it looks he's technically only had one glass, but you never seen that glass not full.
Yeah, and it probably has the silliest straw on the fucking planet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, hi, honey, baby. Hi.
What you are missing is something that I can't give to you right now. Unfortunately, I could bring Percy here, but unfortunately I don't think the people behind the stage will let me. He looks towards the camera, and there's just me just shaking my head no. And Chaos is just I was right.
I sent him paper birds, and they didn't go up in ash and smoke, so clearly he was alive somewhere on this plane to receive them. It's just a matter of just waiting for a response. I don't have to wait long, I don't think. But he just kind of sits there a minute, swirls the wine in the glass.
Look.
I just don't know what to do.
Chaos wraps an arm around him. I can understand this. You're sick. You're lovesick. Which, unfortunately, because you're in a committed relationship, you say, I can't do anything about. I respect that.
Belle gives you a brief look, just of a, and I wouldn't have you try anyway.
Chaos
It's
just.
playful, but it is a brief look of just, yeah, no.
But sometimes say, you have been gone for a long time, darling. Things do take time. Takes time to process. I wouldn't worry about it too much at all.
What do you think a Toon Devil does for fun?
Hmm. See, I'm a little bit conflicted because a lot of the say there are devilish stuff and impish stuff that I like to do for fun all the time. Say playing tricks, say going to the fairs and swindling people out of house and home. I like say those are all good funs. Stealing candy from babies every once in a while. That's always
Hmm, I mean, yeah, it gets you a quick snack. And you do get to hear the parents panic over making the baby not cry, so that's fun.
indeed. But honestly, it's all really up to you to remember what you like to do to have fun. There are
But
definitely,
I don't. That's the problem.
and I'm trying to reawaken some of those memories, every bit by bit. Things that we like to do together, stuff like this.
Well,
Making,
maybe the awakening thing isn't the issue then.
what do you think is the issue then, darling?
But let me rephrase my question. And he actually does snip the fan shut and just set it down. Just kind of points the feathers at you a bit. What do you think I'm supposed to be? Exactly. Am I supposed to be the all intimidating, imposing sort, fire and brimstone, claiming those to my heart's content and rending the lives of men? Or am I somebody nobody even takes seriously? Come the fuck off. And he just downs his glass. I don't remember what I'm supposed to be doing exactly. I've tried doing my job, at least in concept, and it's nutritionally good, but I'm not having fun with it. I've tried pulling pranks on the treehouse. That's been fun, but it's a very short kind of fun. And admittedly, messing around at the library's been fun, but I don't know what to do when I'm this close to pulling myself bald. Am I supposed to be scary or not?
Hmm. Why not both? That's sort of the justification of us of Toons. As he sets a glass down and sort of stands up. Toons can be silly, Toons can bring joy and chaos to the world, and yet there are dark places in those worlds. As sort of he like a camera change of perspective, and his Toon is, and he still looks Toon like, but it's more serious, more sort of realistic in a way. Kind of that sort of dark anime Castlevania vibe of Tiefling.
I was just thinking you were gonna say the noir setting instead. Castlevania's kind of goofier, I'm gonna be level with you.
It's more of an intimidating sort of factor.
Fair. Belle will still find it goofy, at least.
Is a maybe sort of more black and white, red is a red highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Cartoons, but they also can be dark, foreboding, and even if they don't threaten death itself, there are far worse fates than death. As his sort of as his glass as he sets his glass down, it sort of just disintegrates on the say on the counter, just almost just reverse like time where this glass becomes slowly into sand.
I'm gonna roll a perception check for the bartender real quick to see if he sees the fucking nonsense you're pulling. just a plain old. No, he doesn't notice. That's a 4. You can proceed. The bartender does not notice you pulling this.
And his hand sort of glides along the countertop, which turns in almost similar to the glass, like turns like dark and creaky and unkempt, and just like this rotting wood.
I know. Hang on, people are using that.
And this moment you blink, it disappears, and then there's a glass there.
Could you roll me intimidation real quick?
Oh yes. Oh yes,
Yeah, not that he intends it, but you're rolling anyway.
He kind of is intending it to show the power of justification. You can be both at the same time if you want. Which he does a very good job.
What's the number?
1 second.
Oh no.
35.
Jesus fucking Christ. In the time that this has happened, there is a split second where Belle is briefly reminded, oh yeah, right. I'm afraid of the gods. Huh.
Also, you can make a memory check.
Oh, great, cool, good, fantastic, sure, great. Straight or with advantage?
With advantage.
Oh no. That's a 15?
I mean, yeah, that would do it. As Belle remembers something. Remembers something that was told once, but you never. But you bring back to that moment a while back when you were the devil that you used to be and stuff. You and Chaos were hanging out one time, and he offhand mentions that the form that he usually runs around with you on the mortal plane isn't technically him himself. This is an aspect of himself that's running around, and Chaos is more powerful than you think because of it. It's just like he doesn't full out say it, but the sort of power that when you ever get close to when he like makes rifts into his own being, you almost like feel almost like real kind god power pouring out of it.
Ah, so biblically accurate angel fear not situation. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a similar vibe to what's behind Belle, but not quite because Belle was born a Toon as opposed to you.
Mm-hmm.
You were not created in the inkwell, so to speak. It's a nice coat of paint, but it's a coat of paint to you.
Mm-hmm.
That is his only coat, is paint. And ink and pencil. That's it.
Yeah. It's actually
Toon is all there is to him.
Yeah. It's actually really funny. He's like technically part Toon, part real kind, but that's details. Belle wouldn't know that.
Wouldn't know that, and also wouldn't really need to know that because Belle can get it already. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the moment of brief memory of, oh yeah, I forgot I was scared of you guys, passes again. And he pulls the fan back up and just fans it out, again to hide the lower half of his face. The nose and eyes remain, though.
I find this new you, a new you. You have aspects of the old, and you have beauties of the old. But I also think with me and my incarnations, when I was reborn after the erasures in the beginning, I find myself changed, and it was definitely hard to, process when it first happened. But I also then sort of realized that's sort of me in general. nothing in this life stays the same, and I think that's a good thing. So you may not know right now what you like, what causes you for fun. You may have heard other people say what devils like and what they don't. But honestly, it really is up to you to find out and explore and do new things to see what do you like, Mr. Bell.
Is it supposed to matter what I like, though? I have a job to do. Like usually isn't supposed to come into the picture when it comes to one's job.
I like having a good, healthy separation of personal life and my job. Of course, you have to do your job, and there is a formality with that. But you can also not have to be that person while off the job. But at the same time, I pardon the pun, but give them hell to remind you who you are if they try to think of you as something else. And there's sort of the slit of a like dragon eye coming when he says that with an evilish grin. He's just like, oh yeah, if someone like doubts your power, show them what you got.
He does think on that, and he does make mental note of that. But then he says something, and for a moment, when he says it, you're not sitting in front of Bell as he is. He says, but what if I remember everything and find out my personal life is my job? And when he says, what if my personal life is my job? You're not sitting in front of Bell. You're sitting at another speakeasy, full of these beautifully animated, more human-like toons. You know, like the old bars with all the actor cameos and the rubber hose cartoons. In front of pre-transition Bell, who looks tired and depressed. And the only reason that she looks that way is because she's not currently on screen. And then the flash, of course, cuts right back to the present, and Bell is just looking at you with curiosity and none of the tiredness. He doesn't have context to that, and he'll never have context to it again, but go ahead.
Chaos strokes his little goatee. But is it what you want anymore?
Bill glances up at the lights of the club, glances down at the cherry in his drink, bats his eyelashes once or twice, and thinks. I mean, is what I want supposed to matter when I have such a big job to do?
I think it matters when it when it comes to your mental health. I've seen you I've seen you like this before, asking these questions. And what you chose at the time led you to this moment. And yet, you now have the choice once again. Will you let time repeat yourself, or will you decide to do another path? I cannot force you to do anything. I am here for a good time, and I'm here to help an old friend. And I like to hope that you would choose a different path. But again, can never force you to, and I never will.
And as Chaos takes a drink, there's just a moment where, to Bell, it's not the same bar. It's not the same speakeasy, and he's not taken back to the same speakeasy as the memory that you got. He's taken back to a black void ceiling, abstract colors over a pitch black canvas, a bar between here and there, and a bloodstained stage. Old posters worn down with claws. It's just a brief visual moment. It's not one he comments on, it's just a passing scene, as it were. Almost an experimental shot, really. He glances back to his drink and swirls the cherry around. And it almost doesn't look like a cherry for a moment. And you in the present, you can't tell if Bella's starting to dissociate or not. If you would roll an insight check.
Oh, yes.
Please roll an insight check.
I will roll an insight check. And, the modifiers make up for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, your past insight checks have a modifier of fucking 18 or so?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So that's a 23.
On the one hand, yeah, Bella's thinking about your answer. On the other hand, you think maybe you need to talk Bell back to the present. You think his brain has briefly gone somewhere it maybe shouldn't.
Yeah, Chaos does the head, knocks on the head. There's, a coconut sound.
Hey, I just got this fair done.
You're thinking too much right now. Enjoy the moment for what it is as he lifts up a glass. And he sort of fancily drips it down into his mouth. And he drops the glass and you hear a crunch as he eats the glass.
Bell flinches as you eat the glass and just watches you with a grimace.
What? It's candy.
Oh, of course it's candy. And in the back of his mind, he's like, why did I ever think you would eat glass? And then he remembers, oh yeah, right. He's used to goat brain. He's used to eating glass by default. Yeah, well, just a moment. Hi, honey. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I keep waking you, baby girl?
Aw.
Is it good? Do you want a little affection before I continue? Or are you just moving spots? Or do you want a head bonk? Do you want a head bonk? No, you just gonna lay on my underwear? Yeah? Yanni. Oh, Yanni girl.
Mm-hmm.
No! Ow! Okay, that's a bitey. That's the no. Okay. Pet. Just no teeth. I'll give you pets. No teeth. Ow. So, you said I'm supposed to try and figure out my own thing.
Yes.
And that own thing is it both scary and silly or neither scary and silly?
I personally think it's both scary and silly if you have to ask me about it.
Part of me can understand that, but I mean, the other part of me still thinks, who would be scared of a silly devil? Even one that's only part silly.
I think the silliness enhances the scariness because you can easily become more scary just by transferring into that mode. No one expects it. No one will expect it.
You say that like it's an easy switch.
Well, I've had many years to practice.
Yeah, no shit.
Not saying that it would be easy for you, but that's why you have me around. I say I am more than willing to help you.
He looks back down to the glass, and it's just the normal glass. It's not like he's seeing a smaller version of himself in the glass anymore. It's fine. It's just a normal glass now.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
You said you could make me able to get drunk, right?
Yes, I can. For a short period of time.
Okay, that's temporary.
Temporary. A good 8 hours.
permission for us to get wasted?
Long as we don't talk about this subject anymore, permission granted. As he
Yeah, no, that's the entire reason I'm asking.
fair enough. As he swishes his hand, say, over you, and there's like sparkles that come down. It's like glitter. It gets stuck on you, but it does make you look very pretty.
He probably sneezes though, and only a little bit of it comes off. Just hit.
Bless you. And there's a handkerchief.
Thank you. Wipes it off. Now, this is probably going to be one of the last few rolls. We're both going to roll a separate D100 because I assume Chaos also wants to allow himself to get drunk.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have fun.
Then we're going to pull up the carousing table. For others who are interested in following along, this is on page 128 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Allow me to read. Now, keep in mind, one of these options, at least for Belle, is not going to apply for an obvious reason. Characters can spend their downtime engaged in a variety of hedonistic activities, such as attending parties, binge drinking, gambling, or anything else that helps them cope with perils on their adventures. You spend money as though you're maintaining a wealthy lifestyle. See the equipment page of the player's handbook, which we'll get to. And at the end of the period spent, the player rolls percentile die and adds their character level, then compares the totals to the carousing table that determines what happens. So Belle is mostly going to drink, dance, and gamble because gambling is what he finds fun.
Mm-hmm.
But also he just would also prefer to get drunk at least once. Even if it is just like, yeah, so... Now, because of this, one option on the table will not apply to Belle because he's already in a committed relationship. And I'm not even going to let the dice chance that, so no.
No, that's fair. That's completely fair.
Let's go with you first, since you're both just going to get blackout drunk. Let's see it.
Blackout drunk. Let's see what happens.
So, you're going to roll a d100 and then add your character level to it. Though you're playing Chaos.
Oh my god. You're not going to believe it. 69!
Nice!
Also, 1 second. My husband's calling.
Of course.
Hey, babe.
This game was brought to you by the Czar's Bazaar for the Bazaar. Your place to bring in any unwanted magic items and find unwanted magic items. Give some strange magic a new home. Find the Czar's Bazaar for the Bazaar today. Also, we're not responsible or legally liable for anything that happens to anyone as a result of taking any of our magical items or buying anything that they cannot verify the magical quality of, and do not offer refunds.
Sorry about that. My husband is starting to come home from a airsoft game. He just wanted he's doing good and everything. Just wanted to tell me that he was heading home.
Yeah, this fair value jump scared me for a split second because there was no sound when you unmuted.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. That's my end. That's my fault.
Yeah, but 69!
69.
Nice.
Okay, so allow me to pull up the player's handbook because this is both important but also kind of pointless considering you are literally playing Chaos.
Yeah. He will
So,
become mortal for a moment.
okay.
Or at
So
least
let's
his
look at
aspect will be.
starter equipment and wealth, I believe. So let me double check. 143, 143, 143. Starting class by wealth, standard expenses, gear, lifestyle. I'm looking for a lifestyle buddy. Here we go. So, first and foremost, you spend money as though maintaining a wealthy lifestyle. And that means you spend 4 GP, though since you're a god, if you want to multiply that, you can.
He has all the gold that he need. He like he's just pulling gold out of his pockets randomly. There is no limit.
And basically spend the night gambling along with Belle, and you earn modest winnings from gambling. You recuperate those lifestyle expenses for the time spent and gain 1d20 times 4 gold.
Nice.
And now for Belle. Let's see how good or bad his night goes. I am rolling the wrong dice. Oops. I had 2 d20s in my hand. That was my mistake. D100.
You're fine.
So how did Belle's night of partying and gambling go? That one does not apply, because that's the one that involves starting a whirlwind romance. That one don't apply to him.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to read this. Okay, so the expensive lifestyle is 4 GP. You winded up getting more money than him by a large portion because he got the less valuable copy of what you got, earning modest winnings for the gambling and just recuperating lifestyle expenses for the time spent, which is he just got 4 gold back. I'm just gonna give it one last shot just in case he does do something wild. Oh. Okay. For the most part, gambling goes well. You earn a bit more money than he does, but you guys basically spend a night out on the town, basically starting and ending at the same speakeasy, and going to different clubs and joints across the entirety of Inkwell, because you're chaos and you decide, who needs to walk? I could just teleport wherever we want.
Yeah.
And admittedly, at one point you do actually briefly, and only because you are both blackout drunk, teleport right back to the pleasure isles because you miss their giggle juice.
Yeah.
Which absolutely confuses the fuck out of one of the bartenders. But before they can even ask anything, you guys are gone again. So, whoops. Most of the night goes well, and you get more money than Bill. As you decide to head off, the cops come looking for Bill. So, if Bill allows himself to be arrested, he would be jailed for 1d4 days on charges of disorderly conduct, disturbing the peace, and probably a slew of other crimes, let's be honest. Or he could either resist arrest or just pay 10 GP to avoid the jail time.
Chaos would try to pay off the cops and even give the a little bit more money since he gambled his, because gold don't matter to him. If he lets them.
Yeah, no, they on the one hand they would take the gold, Belle decides, nah, fuck cops, and just decides to make a run for it.
Woohoo!
So Belle just winds up getting a brief criminal record in Toontown instead.
Yeah.
Admittedly, though, the fun thing is they actually do not recognize it is fully the devil that was in that beautiful outfit. So instead, there is just a wanted poster of the devil as he was dressed, with the pretty curly updo and the dress and everything, and the feather fan. But there's no name attached to it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if you've seen this strange individual, please. And there's, of course, a small bounty to the fact that I'm gonna roll to see how well he evaded or otherwise fought the cops, because he's not gonna take bribery. No, thank you. We don't need to pay a 10 GP fine. Fuck that and fuck you. He's a boy who hates cops. Thank you very much. I would love to be able to read that number, but I suppose the sun is at a certain point in the sky. So that is. Would you say it's acrobatics or athletics?
You can make an argument for either one.
Pick one.
Let's go acrobatics.
19 plus 3. If you would like to, you can roll for one of the guards. See if they can beat a 23. I would recommend using the bot, not your physical dice.
Yeah, let's see that.
And the guards, in terms of acrobatics, have only a +1.
19. They almost get him.
Almost. Maybe it's because he decides he wants to tease them a little bit. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's because he pulls a couple of Looney Tunes-esque antics.
Yeah.
But they get close to catching him, and then he gets away from it Roadrunner style, and the Wile E. Coyote is left in the fucking dust.
Yeah, it'll be a good story for later.
But when you two finally come back into focus from being blackout drunk, firstly, would you happen to roll a Constitution saving throw for Chaos to see if he even remembers what happened that night? Because he did get blackout drunk, so...
Yeah.
Constitution save! Let's see!
I mean,
Either way, you will
here's
get to
the
keep your
thing
money.
about
You do
his
get to keep your
con.
money. Is the con his dump stat?
I mean, no. It's still fucking good.
Yeah. You don't know if Belle got caught or not, but judging by the fact that you haven't gotten any funny phone calls from Belle's funny little phone to hell, you think he's fine. But then you remember, oh yeah, no, of course he's fine. I watched him outrun the cops and do like 8 laps around them.
And I
Right.
took pictures.
And you took pictures, which you still have on you. You also still have, of course, your gambling winnings, so you do still have the extra gold.
Chaos looks at the
You-
extra gold. He's just like, I'll get this to Fernando. And then there's like this dun 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 of a guitar that suddenly plays.
Yeah, you do not have a wanted poster because you decided, you did not get in trouble with the cops. Belle, on the other hand, decided, fuck cops. I'm
That's
not
fair.
going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Which, honestly, you should have expected nothing less, considering it's the devil himself.
Indeed.
He is notoriously somebody usually invoked if you want to specifically screw over cops.
Yeah.
But in Belle's case, I now need to roll him a Constitution save to see if he remembers. And then I
Yeah.
need to make him one more roll. And that'll be the tail end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Con save. Does he remember? Now, I assume with you giving him the ability to get drunk, do you give him the ability to have a hangover, or are you merciful
yeah.
and decide no?
No, he's getting the full treatment.
Great, good.
If he rolls low, he gets a hangover. If he rolls higher, then he'll be fine.
That's, well, let me get out of the guard stat block real quick. That's a 15 plus 4, so that's a 19.
He doesn't get a hangover, but he still feels it.
Yeah. And for a split second, even though he was like, oh, I wish I could have gotten drunk, in his head, not out loud, as he feels the hangover, it's like, oh, jeez, this isn't what it feels like, is it? I don't want that. And then, of course, realizes For some reason, he has a cop's uniform in his inventory, which includes a pair of pants with the seat bitten off. He doesn't remember fully where this is from, though let me roll him the memory check to see if he does remember the night, because that was just a con save. Alright, so save. Does he remember? Remind me, what save did I make you roll for the memory? For the hang-up, if you remembered, was it con?
It was a con.
Okay, another con save. Would you say a 12 makes it or doesn't?
Barely.
He remembers enough. He remembers a little bit, and for some reason there are still jelly beans and marshmallows all around the treehouse, which are absolutely going to be hell in the environment, but, he remembers a club. He remembers you. A library. Confusing some guards, getting some poor innocent noise-canceling lady sent to jail, or at least detained. And a whole lot of drinking and gambling, and nothing past that point. But when he looks at the uniform and the fact specifically the ass is bitten off, he thinks. And then he reaches into his mouth, kind of filters between his teeth, and pulls out a shred of the exact same fabric. That explains where that went. Okay, that completely explains that then. Doesn't even care that, like, that implies he decided to resist arrest, just like, okay, yeah, that sounds normal. Tosses the scrap, pockets the uniform. He now just has a cop's uniform in his inventory.
Hee.
And he just made back 4 gold from the gambling. He did not get the same amount you did, so. But I do need to make him one last roll. Also, ignore the squeaks. Again, allergy drainage is just mean over here. We're gonna say a high number is complete difference. Medium number is between ground of the two, where he's most familiar, and low number is his art style hasn't changed at all. So high number, the style has changed to a more familiar tone. Middle number, it's a middle ground, which is also familiar. Low number, he stays exactly as UBA in. That's cocked. Hang on. Actually, I don't think it was, but I picked it up on accident. Dang it, I picked it up. Now I do have to roll again. That was my bad. I saw it landed on one of the really tiny miniature dice I have, and I was like, oh no, that's cocked. Didn't realize till the last second that it did land flat. Oops. And with a... There's no modifier to this, so that is an 18 on the die. The other notable difference is while Belle retains a little of the UPA and art style traits, such as color palette and that kind of thing, colored lines, that sort of thing, that don't fully blend in with the other style, but it has hit the... In his current style with the 18 he's rolled, he's kind of back to the rubber hose style that is a lot more familiar to others, but with hints of the UPA in.
Nice.
So his art style is now rubber hose with UPA in on the recessive size.
Nice.
When he looks around the treehouse, most people are going about their business. Meanwhile, 4 poor imps are struggling with tummy aches after they decide to have too many of the jelly beans and marshmallows off of the floor. They're immune to poison and the poison condition, but that does not stop them from getting tummy ache. He notices this, and though he thinks it over because he doesn't fully know what to do in the situation, I'm going to roll him a memory check to see if he, and this will be the last roll for the session, if he remembers enough to just maybe write them a note saying they don't need to work if they can just, like, let the tummy ache settle. It just a papa's note to just go home and rest.
Yeah.
No, buddy. That's a 4 plus 2. That's a 6. And chaos isn't there, so no advantage.
No.
He just looks at that. He shakes his head. And he gets himself cleaned up, but Jesus. Nee. And he gets the lovely outfit he had on the night before off, sets it aside for later. He does love doing himself a bit of drag every so often, so sets it aside, and once he's just changed out of that and he's back to the normal look, which honestly, considering he's mostly rubber hose, is about as close as he's gonna get to his core inspiration. Let's be real here. He's just tiredly hums a little to himself as one by one the viewers just see him walking out of the treehouse, picking up the fattened little imps, carrying them back in like pumpkins, and setting them somewhere so they can relax.
Aww.
He does not remember enough to just send them home with a note, and instead decides, they could wait it off here, and just puts them in his room, on his bed. They kind of look like stuffed animals. He winds up making them just a little bit of soup, makes himself a nice cup, and just tries to wake himself up because he succeeded the con save, but still, for a guy that's not used to hangovers, even though he only gets a little bit of it, it's just like, no thank you.
Which is fair.
Though as he thinks on it, he does get one last little thought. And as he's drinking his tea, he does kind of glance down to himself, to the little pocket of his hammer space where he knows he's keeping his last wish. He doesn't use it, but he thinks about it. He then glances back out the window, and Winona, would you be the one to roll the 3d20 as the very last roll?
3d20s? Okay.
Yeah, for the weather.
Yeah, I'll roll them here. Say
Mm-hmm.
3D, say 3D, say 20s. So 18, 7, 18.
Very well. Okay, so would you roll me a 1d4?
Alright. 4.
It is 40 degrees hotter than normal and heavily raining. So it is a hot, humid rain and a heavy downpour at that. And Belle takes one look at that, and considering he likes the warmth like a fish loves water, he just smiles and has his drink and enjoys his perfectly miserable morning. Like a monster should. Do you believe that would be a good place to end it?
I think that's a perfect place to end it. Thank you everyone for listening in on this FPS, now and into the future.
Hopefully, Chaos's words will be remembered with a little more clarity, and Belle, well, the likelihood is he will wind up making the right decision, but there's gonna be a little hurt along the way.
Of course.
Not right now, of course, but it's coming.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's coming.
It's coming. But anyways, I hope everyone has a good time zone. Make sure to eat and sleep. And I hope you have a nice rest of the day and or evening.
Remember to take your medicine on time, and if you haven't, this is your reminder. Check when you're supposed to have your meds and take them. Skipping your medicine does not make you stronger. It's all right to stay medicated. Stay hydrated, stay shady and cool, because Lord knows temperatures are being a little funky around the countryside at the moment. At least for us Americans it is.
It is.
Because we had some nice rain today, but for some reason I've been sweating in here. For some god-awful reason.
Humidity.
And just remember to love yourself and take care of yourself.